nobody to prove us wrong. I put it all on myself because I'm the one who said
Yeah.
it.
Well, no, I mean, hey, I know they're wicked.
Come
I
on.
mean, the thing about it is how is any of the camps, going to act like that they're innocent?
And got the nerve to ask why this happened. That's what
They
got
know
me.
why. They're beefing. That's why. When the church is supposed to beef,
Mm,
we're not told to do that. That's not the true church. They're beefing with each other. That's
mm,
all it ever is. They're fighting amongst each other because they're of the world.
that part. All right, Mr. Judah for sales, you made it up here. Welcome to the platform. I see you have some issue, take some issue in what we said. We'll hear your grievance, but I hope you got some evidence to substantiate your grievance.
Yeah, shalom, sis.
Welcome. We can't hear you. You gotta say something. Is it me? Can you hear him, Brother Brian? Because I can't hear him.
I think he went. I don't know. I can't see anything. I
He
heard
in
him,
here.
but
Hello?
I don't see his
Yep.
picture.
Okay, there you go. There you go. We can hear you now.
Sorry. I had wanted a breakdown in the scripture in Leviticus, and I want to get wait, I guess you guys represent the church, right? So the church view on this verse.
What verse is it? I mean,
It's
are we gonna just
Leviticus.
are we gonna take one verse, or are we gonna go what it means in this context?
I mean, sure, yeah. You could definitely see what it means in the context. Let me pull it up. I think it's Revelation 17 and 18, I believe. Let me double check. Okay, you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, Revelation 18 and 17. I mean, Leviticus, sorry, Leviticus 18 and 17. Sorry about that.
Leviticus, you say 18
Yeah.
and 17. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and of her daughter, and you shall not take her son's daughter or her daughters to uncover her nakedness. They are relatives. It is depravity. What do you want
Okay.
to know?
I want to know what that means, because Christian church say the laws are done away with, and we have a massive case, which is unfortunate, where this law was actually broken, but this law is not taught in the church. So I want to, since the laws are done away with, my opinion and my view, I see this as a responsibility of the church as well.
Well, sir, I will tell you right now, the law of Moses we are not under. We're under the law of Christ. And this law is already covered when Paul even explains it in First Corinthians chapter 6 verses 9 all the way down. Not only that, Jesus himself in Mark chapter 7 clearly tells you this, and then I'll bring it up here before you, which is part of the law of Christ, which I'm sure you don't deal with or probably don't know anything about. So Mark chapter 7, let's go on down here and let's see what Jesus actually says here. He says here, he says that what come and he said what comes out of a person is what defiles him. What comes out of the heart of a person defiles him. For within out of the heart of man comes evil thoughts, sexual immorality, which is touched on by Leviticus chapter 18 verse 17, that part. Theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within and they defile a person. That is part of the law of Christ.
Yeah, I mean, also to share, and when Jesus, when they asked him about marriage, and he was talking about marriage as man and a woman. So if that is the order that God has set in front of us, that is supposed to be the order. Now I don't know the idea of thinking the church is supposed to be lawless is something I never understand with a lot of the law thumpers. That's what I call them because I mean they're always harping on certain. They pick to the final law in the Old Testament and they pick it out. Well, I mean the law is good and it's holy, and this is God. That is God's standard. But Jesus didn't change nothing when he just pointed out that the law is a man and a woman, and when you start man and a woman and they should leave the mother and father and cleave, that covers all these other sins that you if it's a man and a woman, then anything outside of that is wrong.
Correct, but it wouldn't have been better had these laws. I heard Sherry, right? She gave the New Testament, but when you go to the Old, it is crystal clear. If this law was pushed, because even polite, I could guarantee you, his beginning state was Christianity, just like every other black person.
No, it wasn't. In
So,
fact, he said it wasn't. So you're wrong.
well, okay, well, majority of black people, right? And this is the problem, right? Because I have not one ex girlfriend that has not been, had a situation like this, and this is a problem. So, wouldn't it have been better to preach these laws and stop and get down from the high horse saying these laws are done away with when these laws protect us
Well, I would have to beg to
and
different. Nobody,
protect the
no.
women?
Well, let me say this. I will have to beg to differ from you because, again, number one, these laws that Israel had for over 1,500 plus years, did they not break them, sir?
I mean, I got no. I can add something to that. I mean, we got laws in the United States that's against these molestation stuff and pedophilia. So did it stop polite? He had a law,
Well, I would
and he knew the
disagree.
consequences of that law.
I would disagree with you with the laws of the United States against that because they're pushing several things right now. They're trying to push certain laws where I'm not sure where you ever heard the North American Man Love Boy Act, and then
Well,
they
I
have
mean,
the
I know, I understand they're trying to change the moral laws, and that is a problem. But God will take care of that because He is ultimately going to judge the man laws. That's going to do away with the morals. I mean, that's pretty obvious.
Right,
I mean,
but my question was not answered. Again,
what's the
Israel had
question?
these laws 1,500 plus years, correct?
Correct.
And did they not break these laws?
Yes, but not
Okay,
as
hold on. So hold on. With Israel still sinning, they got the law. These laws did not solve their sins. The law only did nothing but tell them about their sins. The law was not created to wash away sins. It was not created for that. It was created to tell you that you stand guilty before the Lord thy God. You are a sinner. The second purpose of the law of Moses was to point you to the one who could solve your sin. And that can only be found within Jesus Christ. If you don't have the heart and the mind of Christ, you're going to do those things which is contrary against God. That's a fact. The Bible states this. Now, Jesus, right here, which I took you over to in Mark chapter 7, you act as if what Christ says is not law. Is not Christ your authority, sir?
correct.
Okay.
But
So so if Christ is your authority, and Christ tells you to do something or not to do it, that means you are to do what? Obey him, correct?
Correct.
And Christ literally said right here in Mark chapter 7, and I'll read again. He says, those things which, and I'll get it in the KJV with no problem, by the way, right? Let me go back up. He says, that which comes out of man, that defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceeds evil thoughts. This is where the problem is. Adultery, fornication, murder, theft, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness, all these things come from within, and that what defiles a man. So it's a heart issue, not a law issue. If your heart is wicked and those defiled things are coming from the heart, and there is no true transformation, spiritual circumcision of the heart, it doesn't matter how many laws that I throw at you, you're going to go contrary to what thus saith the Lord had to say or told you to do. That's facts. Israel shows that very example throughout the entire Old Testament.
Okay, but sis, check this out, right? When you have a platform where you state these laws are done away with,
Allah.
now you have zero people following these laws. You understand? Now, when you have these laws put in place, and these laws I look is they're there for the protection, especially for the women. These laws, far as the man should not sleep with the stepdaughter, that's covered in Leviticus.
And that's
Is
covered
another
in the
law.
Old Testament. I mean, that's
Yeah.
covered in the New Testament.
Okay, you can show me that in a minute. This other law also, where if a man does not take care of the kid, he basically give up the faith.
That's
Now I'm
covered
pretty
in the New
sure.
Testament.
Okay, if you could show me the first one, if it's crystal clear, like in Leviticus, because my opinion right now, we should be pushing these laws. Show
Nope.
if you could show me that the father cannot sleep with the stepdaughter, crystal clear in the New Testament. Can you show me that?
That's under
But
sexual immorality, sir. That's incest.
I mean, you would say that step means that he's the man or woman has been remarried.
No, read Leviticus 17 again. What else? 17, 18?
Yes, that
I
was
know what
covered.
it's talking about. I mean, it's
Okay.
anything outside of a man and a woman.
That's covered in the New Testament, sir. That's why I said you are bypassing Jesus' words as if Jesus has no authority, but he does. He just named off right here sexual immorality. Do you know what sexual immorality is, sir?
Well, you won't know what sexual immorality is, what everything that sexual immorality covers, unless you go to the law. You
Nope.
Well,
cannot get all. You cannot get every precept of sexual immorality unless you go to the law.
Nope. Jesus gave it right here. Illicit
Okay.
sexual intercourse, adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with an animal, that's bestiality, sexual intercourse with a close relative. Read it and weep. Leviticus chapter 18. I told you.
Okay, that's Leviticus.
Beloved, sexual intercourse with a close relative. And did not Jesus say sexual immorality? Yes, he did.
Well, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. I
No,
think
we
that
had,
would
sir.
be crystal.
See, that go back to what Brother Brian just said. It's right here in black and white. Look at the screen.
here's my. I mean, I'm
But I can't
curious.
see the screen.
My God,
Can you
What?
show me the verse in the? Can you read the actual verse?
What?
Jesus Christ,
But I mean,
No,
you
no. I'm
you would
saying, can you
agree.
read the actual verse?
sir, you're looking at it.
That's not a verse.
Jesus
That's like a
said it
definition.
out of his own mouth. Sexual immorality. I mean,
Okay.
you act like Jesus got to stand there. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not sleep with this one. Thou shalt not da da da. Sexual immorality
He
covers
he
all those
he
things.
he summed it up in these
Oh,
categories.
I just read it. I
This
just read
is
it, Pastor.
this is really common sense.
Wow. Whoa. Sorry, it's right there on the screen. It's right there on the screen. Have you ever looked up the word sexual immorality? My God, my God. Let me continue to read. I'll go illicit sexual intercourse, adultery, fornication, homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with an animal, that's bestiality, etc. Sexual intercourse with a close relative, sexual intercourse with a divorced man or a woman, metaphor worship of idols, or the defilement of idolatry as incurred by eating the sacrifice offered to idols. He covers it all with one word: sexual immorality. And you
Yeah.
act as if Jesus didn't say nothing. You got to be kidding me. Go ahead, Brother Brian. Got
Well,
to be kidding.
I just find it interesting that why do you need something spelled out to you to know what's wrong and right when you have, I mean, you yourself have, if you are born again, you have the Holy Spirit. But not only that, if you're a regular person, you have a moral compass inside of you to tell you what's right and wrong. Because that is what Adam and Eve, when they ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they knew everything. You have a moral compass in you. The same way when Cain killed Cain killed Abel, God told him sin is crouching at your door. That's his conscience. That's the knowledge, the know good and evil. He knew the truth. People,
Okay. But what I'm saying, when people go to church, because I used to go to Christian church, the pastor is not going to the definition. I asked the sister to read the verse. She went right and read the definition because the verse don't break it down directly. Some of our people, unfortunately, needs it in black and white, not just one word that covers a whole different plethora of things, right? I'm guaranteeing you now, the pastor is not reading the definition on that. He'll read the verse, but once you go to the Old Testament, it says it crystal clear. And this is what our people need to hear.
So, sir,
They
let me
need to
ask you
hear
a
the
question.
crystal clear. I'm not
So,
saying for me, myself, I already that I already know. But for most people, they need it crystal clear.
okay, so you can't get no clearer than sexual immorality. If you don't know what the word sexual immorality is, or a word period, what do you do? If you don't know what a word means, what do you do?
But the pastors are not breaking
Sir,
that
please
down,
answer
sis.
my question. If you see a word that you do not understand, what do you do?
Well, some people would look it up, but everybody don't go looking the
Some,
word up.
well, right, and that's the
Yeah.
problem, right? Which is keeping people in willful ignorance, right? So clearly, right here, if I was to say, um, nations, what does nations mean?
Depending on the context.
I'm asking the definition of nations. What does nation mean?
It can mean group of people.
Okay. So again, nations, yes, is a group of people. But if you don't know the definition of nation, you will look it up, correct?
Yeah, but
Oh, okay.
everybody
So
in church
there's
is
no
not
buts,
looking up every word, sis. That's
sir. But then
well,
that's the problem.
well,
so
well.
do you
With
think
that,
that giving people laws is going to fix them?
correct. Some of these brothers don't know certain things. Correct.
What?
So if you
What?
teach them all these laws, do you think that they're gonna? I mean, okay, and we know that IUIC and I was the one other group that was fighting IUCPK. We know that they read the laws, but do you think they're sinning less or more?
Less.
Really? They're fighting and trying to kill each other.
I'm gonna tell you from where I come from, right?
It don't
Um,
matter where you come from. Wrong is wrong.
Listen, I'm sinning a whole lot less. A lot of people don't even believe the position where I'm at right now.
What?
You know what
Let
I'm
me
saying?
let me double back.
So
Let me double
now
back.
some of these laws, some of these things that I know now, I didn't get it from, the pastor in the church reading the New Testament. Like I wasn't the one to go say, okay, let me go look up every word.
Well,
Now now
can,
now
So then you wasn't studying the Word of
the
God.
can I
the
ask you
Old
I want to
Testament
ask
makes
you a
it crystal
question about
clear.
that.
I mean, once you read the Old Testament, right? Let's say just on that sexual immorality, we don't need to go to a dictionary. You understand? So you actually putting a burden, an extra step on other people when you say the laws are done away with, because the laws explain it crystal clear. Even Paul says it. He said he would not know sin if he did not know the law.
Lem- let me ask you a question. I want you to be truthful and honest with me. When you went to church and the preacher preached past 12 o'clock, would you get mad or with him if he kept on preaching?
No.
So you telling me you would sit there knowing you was hungry and you would allow you just keep sitting there no matter what, no matter how long the preacher preached.
3, 4 hours, sometimes two. It all depends which church.
Even three
But
or four
this is
hours is not going to be able to cover all the topics of the Bible. That's the reason you have a Bible that you can take home with you and actually look it up and read it yourself, right? So you don't need a pastor that's going to stand up there 3 or 4 hours when the attention span of most people is no more than about 10 minutes. And you telling me you sat through 3 and 4 hours and listened to every word he said?
I have a additional question here. So, sir, you said that the Christian pastors are not, I guess, not teaching, right? Um, are you? So you telling me you've been to every Christian church out here? Every Christian church. Uh huh. I'm waiting for an answer. Can you factually tell me that you have been to every Christian church in order to say what you're saying? Then got quiet. Can you hear me, Brother Brian? Did I go silent? Hello. Let me make sure I'm not on mute. No. Okay, no problem, sir. I'm still here. I'm still talking to you. Can you hear me? All right. Can you factually tell me that you've been to every Christian church to factually say what you're saying? Mm-mm. Can y'all my audio check is good? Oh, okay. My audio's check good, brother Bill. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure, that y'all could hear me. Can a few of y'all put some ones in the chat that y'all can hear me loud and clear? Uh-oh. Okay, let me see. I did that. That was my fault. All right. All right. So let me do it like this. Bring him back in. Okay. And then let me stop screen sharing for a second. Okay. Go back. Where were we at? We were in this one right here. Okay. Now, can you hear me, sir? Because they can hear me. You done got quiet. Maybe you having trouble. I don't know. But y'all can clearly crystal. Okay, y'all putting ones in the chat. Okay, praise God. Okay. All right. Can you factually, sir, tell me that you have been to every Christian church out here? to say what you're saying, to say that every pastor is not teaching the word of God. No, he can't say that. He can't say that. He cannot. So, meaning that his statement is ambiguous. He painted a broad brush, right? I haven't been to every Christian church. There's thousands of them, right? Even across seas, right? In the Middle East, in Europe, in Africa, Australia, all 7 continents, right? I want to hear this. Yeah, he done ran up out of here. He done got up out of here. So as you can see, family. Okay, he done came back. Hopefully he can hear. Okay, hopefully he'll speak. Can you hear us now, sir?
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay, can you answer my question?
Okay, what was your question?
The question was, have you been to every Christian church to factually say what you're saying, sir?
Well, I'm 44. I've been to plenty. I've
I,
been
I, I I said, have you been to every Christian church?
no.
Okay. So you can't make that statement because not just as I just told them, not only do you got Christian churches across this nation here in America, but we got them in South America, we got them in the Caribbean, we got them across seas in Africa, we got them in Europe, we got them in Australia, we got them in the Middle East, even in China, darling. So wait a minute. In order for you to make that statement, you have to literally visit every Christian church to factually be able to say that. Not to mention all on that, you'll have to go all the way back 2,000 plus years through church history to prove that, sir.
Okay, and this is the concept that I see whenever somebody say don't broad brush, meaning don't. Basically, it means you can't point out nobody at all, and that's senseless. You understand? So I think broad brushing is a good thing because if there's one church that don't do it, then you can say, oh, that's broad brushing. That don't make sense. If majority is doing it, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, this, that, and the other. But if majority is not doing it, then I would say that'll be broad brushing. But from
That'll
three
make sense.
different cities that I yeah, from 3 different cities that I lived in, none of
Mm-hmm.
these churches, I've been in plenty of churches. None of
Mm-hmm.
these churches actually does a breakdown. So and tell people how to act. I
Mm-hmm.
could leave the church and go right to the block. And I go hustle, do my thing, ask
Mm-hmm.
God for forgiveness, just have faith like a mustard seed. That's Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it like that because guess what? This is how they put it. You understand? You don't
Really?
have to do the laws. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's all the pastor said. You don't got to do the laws. So I'm right back on the block after church.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
that's
so 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 the Christian pastor, hold on. So the Christian pastor never told you about the law of Christ. Yeah, the very same law, by the way, right here, right? Let me get that for you. Maybe you might have missed it. You know, y'all tend to miss stuff, right? Right here. Yeah, the very same law right here, verse 21, that Paul says he's under. Right there. The law of Christ, right there. The law of Christ. He didn't say he was under the law of Moses. He says he's under the law of Christ.
but we also looked earlier
Ain't no
when you
but.
read that definition and went back to
Come back to the law of
Leviticus.
Christ, sir. I'm not going down no rabbit holes. The law of Christ, right there. Do you
I'm
do you see
saying,
it?
yeah, I see it.
Oh,
But when you
okay.
read,
So wait a minute. This right here is sitting in the New Testament, and Paul says, "But under the law of Christ." He's under the law of Christ. He didn't say he's under the law of Moses.
But when you read that sexual immorality, and you
Mm-mm.
read that, you pulled up the definition in the New Testament, right? It
Mm-hmm.
went back to Leviticus. It went back to what that was, Malachi. I seen in there.
Leviticus
Um,
18. No, that was Mark, honey.
okay, Mark. It went back to
That's New Testament.
okay, so it went back to Leviticus and Mark. So
Mm-hmm.
to get to get the clear understanding of sexual immorality, you need Leviticus and
No,
Mark.